Well, hey there, hero. It's David H. Lawrence, the 17th, and today I want to talk to you about the ground that is shifting beneath our feet, the changes that are occurring right before our very eyes, and the people, the institutions that are kind of being left behind by it, and why what I do when I teach really has nothing to do with this long-standing tradition of education and achievement. So let me break that down for you. Let me explain what's going on. So one of the books that I recently narrated is called Leveraged Learning, and it's by Danny Iny. He's a friend as well as a really brilliant guy. We've been in masterminds together, and he wrote this book because education is antiquated. The education system that we have right now, the higher education system in particular, he's not talking about, K through 12, but he's talking about colleges and universities. They are a blast from the past. They are not serving the employers that want to hire people coming out with degrees. They're not giving the preparation that's needed to operate at a high level in modern society. And one of the things that he describes is that their signal strength is dropping. The signal strength meaning the import, the heft, the meaning behind getting a degree at a university. Now, there are some exceptions. Ivy League universities, Oxford, medical schools, they have a very special, small niche. But all of these universities, state universities, city colleges, all of these universities all across the country that are pushing people and raising tuitions and giving them degrees that employers kind of look at and go, yeah, well, okay, that's great. That's good. It's so competitive and it's so weird because in the old days, in the 1700s, the 1800s, even before that, a university carried huge signal strength to people that really didn't need it. Because the only people that were going to universities were the really wealthy, usually male, usually white kids. And they had families that could take care of them, whether they were successful or not. But when that started to become more mainstreamed, more maximized, and other people began attending from other socioeconomic levels and backgrounds and races and sexes, genders, all of a sudden, the university degree began to have a very, very big impact on society in the 1800s, the early 1900s, all the way through the end of the 20th century. But what's happened since then is this huge entrepreneurial change in what we've been doing and a huge shift in what employers want. And in our case, as performers, we weren't really ever a part of that whole academic thing. We didn't need to get a degree to be an actor or to be a voiceover talent. Now, there are plenty of people who do. They get degrees in theater arts, or they get degrees in performance, or they go to performance-based higher learning, and those do have some signal strength. But for the most part, if you go to any casting office in Los Angeles or New York or London or Sydney, and you go in for a part, they're not going to ask you as a requirement of considering you for the role, where did you get your degree? That just doesn't happen. And it's happening more and more in other industries as well. So the problem, though, is there are people running around saying, we're going to give you certification. We're going to give you a degree. And it's going to be great because you can take that degree out and you can get yourself somewhere, my God. And the fact of the matter is that signal strength just isn't there anymore. Unless it's an Ivy League school, unless it's a very well-regarded medical university, the signal strength from a degree at a typical college or university means much less and is much lower than it used to be even just 20, 30 years ago. And that is because we have changed how we operate in this world. Everybody is a lot more entrepreneurial. Everybody has side hustles and everybody wants to start a business. And as performers, that's what we signed on for. We started a business. We decided to be entrepreneurial, right? So when I designed VO Heroes, and even before that with VO to Go-Go and the other things that I teach, the ACX Masterclass and so on, I really couldn't care less about signal strength. We don't offer a diploma or certification. We let you have a certificate that says you completed the course, but we don't have like grade point averages and magna cum laude and summa cum laude and valedictorians and salutatorians and all of these ancient mechanisms that meant something at one point in history, but really don't mean that much anymore. And I'm not minimizing those of you who are super whip smart and were valedictorians and got a 4.5 grade point average on a 4.0 scale. I'm thrilled that that's the case. And maybe it helped you get into a really great college or university. But when it comes to my training, I couldn't care less about signal strength. There are people that go to other coaches because they have bigger names. There are people that go to big organizations that sell them really hard on their project and what they or their process and what you come out with in the end in terms of people being able to say, "Oh, you took your stuff there? Oh, that's great." That doesn't happen. No client comes to you as a voice talent or as an actor and say, "Now, before you audition for this, before I even consider you, tell me about your training." They might ask as a matter of course, but it's not a deal breaker. It's not something that is required. It's very different. And so instead of signal strength, what I rely on and what I want to generate and what I want for you and for my other clients is I want two things. I don't want you to have a piece of paper that you hold up and say, "Hey, I went and took classes at voheroes.com." Now we give you little certificates and they're suitable for framing. You can put them up, but they're more for your own benefit and completion, right? I don't expect any of you to put them all in a book and take them someplace on an audition. What I do want is I want you to have engagement and I want you to have results. I want you to be connected to what you're learning and what you're executing. How many of you have gone to classes and sessions and seminars or even school and university labs and lectures and stuff and seen people who are completely checked out? They're not paying attention. They're there because they think if they can just get through these 4 years or 2 years or 5 hours, whatever it is, they're going to come out on the other end being able to say, "Yeah, I did that, so I'm better now." But did you really get the knowledge that you need? That's what I want. And did you get the joy of engaging in what you're doing? And do you get results? I want that for both you and your client. That's why I called my company, when I rebranded it this year, that's why I called them VO Heroes. I want to create heroes, you as a hero to your client. You're engaged, you're concerned, you are on it, you've got their back. You're getting results for them. That's what I want. I don't want you to think, "Oh, I did this. I have a certificate. That's great," because the signal strength on that it's just not there. And when I was thinking about this the other day, I thought, wow, it's just like higher education. And I think that programs that are like mine that I provide to give people the ability to create businesses, to create practices, to create high-level skill sets are going to be far more important to the public at large, to employers that want to bring you on board, to clients that want to take advantage of your services in the future, and that's what leveraged learning says, in the future, than what higher education is doing today. So that's what I have to say about that. What do you have to say about that? I'd love to know. I know that some of you have spent an awful lot of money. I didn't even talk about, college debt. When you compare that to the $29.95 that I charge for the entire curriculum of what I do, it's like mine's a drop in the bucket. There are people walking around with 6 figures of college debt and no job to pay for it. So I'd love to know what you have to say about all this and whether or not this is something that you've thought about, whether or not this is something that you chose to move away from or to move toward as you were thinking about what would work for you. What is it that would be great? Do you look back on your college or your university experience and go, "Why did I do that?" I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know. I'd like to open up this conversation. And we do that over on voheroes.com. Do make the comments there. And if you want to be on the list and find out when these videos come out, we're going to do one a day through the end of the year. And then we're going to switch over to Wednesdays. Once a week on Wednesdays. That's going to be the title of the new series. So there you go. Go down to the bottom of the page. If you want to get on the list, fill out that form. You'll be on the list. I'd love to have you. I'm David H. Lawrence, the 17th. I thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you tomorrow.